Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on Facebook or X, I urge you to come over and watch on Rumble because that's the only place you can watch the show in full, and it's the only place you can scroll with all my homies in the live chat. So 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday to Friday, go to rumble.com/Hayley. It brings you to the Bongino Report channel. That's the only place you can watch the show in full. Of course, if you can't catch us at 6, I know people catch us later on Rumble, or they listen on their favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen, tell a friend. Throw the link in the group chat. You never know. Maybe they'll stay. Maybe they'll become a homie. We got a big show on deck tonight. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is fighting for equality. You know, you would think that the left would be all over that. They would love that, but of course, they're losing their minds. Then Rosie O'Donnell is in therapy, and whatever she's paying that therapist, it is not enough. And meme lord President Trump trolls the left with a video they are calling, anyone want to guess? Racist. And is a government psyop. Is getting into traffic, you know, are they planning something? Is the world a stage? Is it all fake? We're going to discuss in tinfoil hat time. Put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Just said we should get shirts that say, be a homie, not a homo. We'll think about it. Thank you for your suggestion. We do need to get on some other merch options. Maybe we'll talk about some more tomorrow. But that's very funny. President Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, they spoke to hundreds of generals and admirals at the Marine Corps Museum in Quantico, Virginia earlier today. And they announced various changes that will be made, of course, from the top down. Most importantly, making a commitment to restore the United States military to greatness, its former greatness. Not that the brave men and women serving under the previous administration weren't great. Of course they were, and we thank them. But the leadership was focused on making changes to the military in terms of DEI practices, fake and gay stuff, embracing the different sexualities and gender identities of servicemen and women, when in actuality, none of that matters when we're all supposed to be fighting the enemy, which is our foreign adversaries, you know, people who hate us, people who want to kill us. Doesn't really matter who you sleep with or any of that. The only thing that matters is that we have the best and the brightest representing us, the strongest and the most competent men and women protecting us and our freedoms. And our military shouldn't care who you sleep with or what biological sex you are. But you have to be physically and mentally able to do the job at hand. And any previous standards that may have been lowered to be more inclusive put us at risk. They are not helpful to the cause. So Secretary Hegseth announced that new fitness directives will be sent out to each branch of the military service, and they will highlight new mandates and standards for service members across the board. Now, what these are specifically, I don't know. I was looking into this in the Army combat fitness test. You know, certain things are different with all the branches of the government, but Army, these are things like maximum deadlift, a standing power throw, hand release push-up, sprint drag carry, plank, 2-mile run. And you can you have like a total score that you have to pass. So you don't need to be like perfect. And, you know, if something else is your strong suit, if you're super fast, that'll help you if you're not, you know, equipped in another area, right? But for the Navy, it's different. You know, there's push-ups, forearm plank, there's an endurance event, you know, 500-yard swim. So they're different, right? But the scoring, like I said, you know, it's this kind of, I don't know the word for it. I've been out of school for a very long time.
It's like an accumulative
score. Exactly. So, you know, what he's saying is that there's going to be one standard. The standard is going to be across the board for men and women. And if that means that less women can hit that standard, well, so be it. So here are just some of the statements that have sent the left into a tizzy earlier today. Here's our Secretary of War. Listen.
This, and I want to be very clear about this, this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral.
Yep.
If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games.
Right.
This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on killing you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force, you must trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. You know this is the only standard you would want for your kids and for your grandkids.
Yep.
Apply the War Department Golden Rule, the 1990 test, and the E6 test, and it's really hard to go wrong.
This is not controversial at all. And if you think this is controversial, you are too soft to be in the military. I am serious. If you are offended by these kinds of things, by this language, you better find the door. Because fighting for your life against terrorists in a war zone is going to be way worse than having to do as many pull-ups or push-ups as the men, right? I mean, this is ridiculous. But of course, this outrage is not coming from people in the military, because I think most of these people would agree. I was going through the comment section and there were so many servicemen and women saying, I agree with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. I agree with this because, like he is saying, and we're going to play another clip in just a second, if you are out on the battlefield and you need to carry your brother next to you, you better be able to do that. And if your people cannot rely on you, you are a waste of space out there, for real. So anyway, it's fighting terrorists is going to be worse than the pull-ups and push-ups that you have to do. And if you want to serve in the United States military at the highest levels, you will have to work for it. And if you can't do it, there are other ways that you can serve in the military. But if you are on a battlefield, if you are in active service, the men and women around you, if they cannot rely on you, you are not an asset. You are a liability. But Secretary Hegseth was not done. Watch this.
This administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
Amen. And of course, this is all in reference to some of the policies that were set forth by the Biden administration, ones that embraced transgenders in the military and actually paid for their transgender surgeries. Yeah. These are things that the United States military nor the American taxpayer should ever have been paying for. And yet that was a priority for the Biden administration, and not anymore. No men in dresses, no servicemen wearing dog masks and other bondage. If you remember that story from a few years back, we are returning to normalcy. We are returning to excellence. But here is just a few of the responses from the left. Now, I just saw this before we went to air. John Harwood tweeted, and I don't know who this is. I had to click on his profile. Apparently, he's like a former journalist. So you can imagine that he's a leftist nutjob. But he says, Pete Hegseth has made clear that if he had his way, the U.S. military would have no blacks in leadership positions and no women at all. And I just played 2 clips. That is not what Pete Hegseth said. We all know that. And I was cracking up because someone in the comments pointed out, he said that he doesn't want military members fat and unqualified, and you immediately think of blacks and women? Interesting. They say the quiet part out loud, these liberals. They just do. And if you are on X, then you know who the Krasenstein twins are, brothers. They're just liberal grifters. But here's what one of them, I think Brian, here's what Brian had to say. Pete Hegseth is a complete and utter embarrassment and dishonor to our military. We unleash overwhelming, he's quoting Pete Hegseth here. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. That's end of Pete Hegseth's quote there. And Brian Krasenstein continued and says, every respectable general should have walked out after this sentence. What? If you are a respectable general, you should be standing up and clapping. You should be at attention, right? Like, this should make you want to serve under Pete Hegseth. This would make you want to fight for the country that you are willing to die for, right? I mean, what do they think that serving in the military is? A game of patty cake? I don't know. Like, that is what war is. Killing our enemies. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to be prepared to do. And you also have to be prepared to give your life in the process. I would want to give my life for a military that isn't focused on bondage and other weird stuff. I would want to give my life for a military that is the biggest and the best in the entire world, the strongest in the world. Now, Sunny Hostin on The View also had some thoughts about this. Listen.
I'm actually really befuddled by why he did that. The optics were terrible, meaning all of our top military brass are all in one place, and we spent $6 million to get them there. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. It also didn't make a lot of sense to me that he was saying that he was going to toughen physical standards and review the anti-hazing policy by sort of implementing a hazing policy. And then also he said he was going to return to the highest male standard for combat positions because the troops were fat. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that was supposed to be an uplifting message for our military.
Maybe he's referring to Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, it was really a bizarre thing.
What is she talking about? You know, like
First of all,
these people need to train, Hayley, like they are professional athletes. They need
more than that.
They need to train like
They
you're
need to
seeing
train to
people play.
kill.
Yeah, well, they have weapons trainings but I mean, just their whole the way they build their bodies, how they have to be, you know, athletic and maneuverable and fast, and I mean, they have to do that through aging. Typically, it's like they have to stay on top of their bodies in an elite way.
Of course.
And it's not average. There's nothing average about excellent military work.
And it's hard.
It's so stupid.
It is hard to serve in the military. It should not be easy. And you have to fit a certain standard. As it is, you can't just like sign up for the military and go. If you have certain health issues, you can't serve. You have to have a clean bill of health. There are so many things, like if you have certain allergies, if you have diabetes, if you have like other metabolic disorders, if one of your legs is shorter than the other, there's like so many things. Like serving in the military is a privilege, not a right. And you have to meet certain physical standards. And yeah, you have to keep up with them. Like you said, as you age, you have to be up to the job. And what I found funny, or not funny, what I found disrespectful, well, not disrespectful, but yeah, I guess, kind of. What Sunny Hostin, she called all of those generals and admirals in the room military brats, which are children of servicemen and women.
I couldn't tell if she said that or brass, B-R-A-S-S,
Oh, brass.
like the military brass.
Oh, maybe she did say that.
They spent a lot of money on getting everybody corralled and into the same place so they could hear this, just so 99.9% of the people in that room can say, hell yes, thank you for saying this.
Right. Yeah, but like, listen, I'm down to have people come in person and hear from their leader. We've gotten so accustomed now to everything happening over Zoom, meetings over Zoom. There's no in-person connection or community or anything. Like, I think having that camaraderie and that like feeling is important for our military. Having all these generals in the same room with the Secretary of War.
What is intimidating about telling?
Maybe she did say brass.
What?
I was like, why would she call them military brats? That's so dumb.
What is intimidating about telling our men and women that serve in an elite capacity, that carry weapons down range, that move munitions all over the world, that have to go into the bush for days and fight? You know, I mean, it's a tough tough job. That's why we honor them. It's a tough job. A lot of these veterans, Hayley, the reason that they're on pain medication is because they have orthopedic injuries like torn labrums and torn ACLs because of the physical work that they've had to do for years. What's hard about demanding that they stay in shape?
There is nothing demanding about, I mean, he's demanding it, but it's completely warranted, especially in this situation. I mean, again, he said it best. This is life and death. And I thought it was funny, too, that Sunny Hassan said that, this wasn't uplifting. I don't think all those generals and admirals were in the room for some, like, kumbaya, pat on the back, gold star sticker.
Halftime at football games aren't uplifting. Coaches aren't always uplifting.
Right.
They're demanding.
Right.
And that's life. Life isn't always uplifting.
And
it's
again,
demanding.
This is how members of the media react to something like this. They're not thinking about people who are literally giving their lives for this country. Like, they are there to take orders. Anyway, the responses are just total nonsense. And of course, the conservative right is embracing these messages because, these kind of standards, I think, need to be applied across the board. I mean, a lot of people I saw were saying this today, that this same standard should be applied to police precincts. It should be applied to fire stations, because why should we have unhealthy, overweight people in the field? You have to run. You have to lift. You might have to chase someone. You might have to detain a criminal who's stronger than you, maybe potentially bigger than you.
Yeah, totally.
You might have to jump
you.
a fence. I mean, there are things, especially if you're working in the field, right? But if you can't do these things, there are other jobs for you in this field. But I'm saying, if you are in the field, if you are saving people from fires, if you are detaining criminals and things like that, you need to have a certain physical standard, and it needs to be the same across the board. You might have to carry a body. You need to be equipped to do all of these things. And does everyone remember during the Pacific Palisades fire back in January, DEI policies came back to the forefront because the LA fire chief, of course, the first female LA fire chief, I don't know what she is. I think it's a she, was in hot water because she was on the record saying that, she shouldn't be responsible to save men. Watch this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
You got yourself in the wrong place?
Yeah, I'm sure.
What does that mean?
I'm sure if the husband knew that a raging house fire was going to start, he wouldn't sit in the recliner. That makes no sense.
It is so insulting, especially to hear that from the fire chief, and this is the woman in charge, right? So is she instilling that message in all of the people underneath her, all of the firefighters underneath her? Oh, if someone gets themselves in a bad position, that's on them. You don't have to save them. That's on them. If you can't physically lift them, they got themselves in a bad situation, just a victim blame. So yes, that is the first female fire chief. And this is why conservatives are against DEI policies. It's not that a woman can't do the job, but you shouldn't get the job because you check a box. If you are a woman who is exceptional, then that woman deserves the position. If she victim blames men who need to be saved from a burning building, that's not exceptional. She should not be a firefighter, and she certainly shouldn't be in charge of other firefighters. She's skirting the blame off of herself because she knows she can't do what is required of her for this job. And that's what the left is pushing for. Mediocrity when it matters the most. In situations where excellence and precision is needed, you need to react fast, and you might have milliseconds to make the right decision, right? You cannot delay, and you have to be precise. And Democrats are all about making excuses for people who don't deserve to be in their positions. They're all about handouts and patting themselves on the back for delivering firsts. that don't matter. The first woman this, the first black woman that, the first black Jamaican woman this, the first gay man that, the first transgender whatever. If all you're doing is delivering a first, you are a waste, in my opinion. I want to take a quick break to tell you about Genucel. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard me tell you about the transformative results that people see after using Genucel. I use the dark spot corrector. I have acne scars. I struggle with that. You know, I talk about this on social media all the time. I use the vitamin C firming serum. It helps brighten my complexion. I use the anti-wrinkle treatment. I use it on my neck to fight, fine lines, early signs of aging. You can't start too soon, and you can't start too late, right? There's no bad time to start fighting aging. And I absolutely love the products. They feel great on my skin. I use them morning and night. They are lightweight. They feel good. I can wear them underneath my makeup. Everything goes on smoothly. So now it is your turn to see results like mine. During Genucel's end of season summer sale, there is only a few days left to get Genucel's complete skincare package at 70% off, and includes that deep firming serum, the vitamin C serum I was just telling you about, and you get immediate effects and results in just minutes. It is the best skincare in the world, and you can try it for yourself completely risk-free. Go to Genucel.com/scroll today and start looking years, even decades younger tomorrow. All orders are upgraded to free shipping. See results on day one. You will get compliments everywhere you go, guaranteed, or your money back. That is Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. Well, it's not just DEI policies that the left stands for. The left is also the party of failures across the board. This was last week, but here is CNN's Harry Enton delivering news that isn't so hot for the Democrat Party. But here are the numbers that prove voters overwhelmingly cannot trust the Dems to deliver on major issues. Watch.
What do you think?
Yeah, what are we seeing? Donald Trump being underwater, Democrats saying, oh, this guarantees us we're going to fly high in the midterms. Let me tell you, this guarantees you nothing, because at this particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime? A big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans. Look at that. Lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22. The lead, again, expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
Wow. Isn't
I
it
love
just,
this guy.
I know, I do too, because I think he's a secret Republican.
Well, do you know
he's giddy delivering those results?
Oh, for sure. And he sounds like Chris Russo. Mad Dog Russo's a New York sports guy. Mm-hmm. And he's massive in New York sports talk radio. The chat don't know who he is, but he sounds so much like that guy in his delivery. And it's so perfect.
It's funny too, because, all the loudest voices on the right and the left, I don't know how representative they really are of the electorate as a whole. I think there are a lot of people in the middle, and they don't feel represented by the loudest voices on both sides. But certainly the loudest voices on the left are saying that, President Trump fighting crime is unconstitutional, and he's Hitler and all this stuff. I really don't think that people believe what they're hearing, even though that's their rallying cry and they're repeating it over and over again. I think there are certain people on the left that buy into that narrative, but I think most normal people really don't believe that because they're the ones living in these cities and they're experiencing the crime and they don't want to live amongst crime. I mean, everyone wants to live in the nice neighborhood. Everyone wants to be able to leave their door open and, oops, I forgot to lock the door. No problem. No one's coming in to steal my stuff. People want to live in that kind of a neighborhood. White picket fence,
You have this dude's on CNN, and then immediately right after him, what is it, like the 10 o'clock hour, the show that Scott Jennings is on, they spew the lies that data disproves. Yeah. So it's such a circle of weirdness on that channel. It's like, why are you having this guy on and then air a show 2 hours later that just propels the opposite?
It's so that they can claim that they report the facts, and then they have the opinion people that, you know, undo the narrative or whatever. But anyway, Alyssa Farah Griffin on The View referenced this study that Harry Enton was talking about how Democrat voters and independent just voters in general do not trust the Democrats on all these major issues. And she also delivered a truth bomb to her co-hosts who were in total disbelief, but I agree with her. So watch this.
I'm going to say something that's going to make this table and this audience very upset, but I want to tell the unvarnished truth. I think if the election were reheld today, Donald Trump would win by the same, if not a bigger margin. I think we forget this country. How do you say that, though? This country is so deeply polarized. If you hated him before, you hate him even more now. There are definitely people who are like, ooh, I'm having some buyer's remorse. But there's this poll today that shows that on the top issues people voted on, they still trust Republicans more. We are literally a 48-48 country, and then this little percentage in the middle that goes either way.
Joy. Just in total disbelief. How can you say that? How can you say that Trump would still win? She does not get it. They do not get it. And the audience there, the live audience, you could hear them verbally reacting, right? Like, oh, you know? And she's saying what is absolutely true. That if the election was held today, tomorrow, last week, we would still see President Trump wipe the floor with Kamala Harris. Duh. They think that people have buyer's remorse. I have not met one Republican who wouldn't vote for Trump again if they had the chance. I would vote for Trump again. Unfortunately, I can't, but I voted for him 3 times. You can all let me know in the chat if you disagree with President Trump. That's fine. Would you not vote for him again? Would you vote for a Democrat? I wouldn't, and I have never, like I said, I have never met a Republican that has gone back. I've never personally met one. I'm not saying they don't exist, but someone in the chat just said, I voted for this, getting what I voted for. Exactly. Now, am I like, do I love everything that Republicans do? Not all the time. Am I impressed with Congress right now? Not really. I think they could do more with the majority that they have. Would I consider switching sides? No. I will ride or die with this party, whether they're doing their jobs or not, because these are the issues that I care about. And I happen to believe that President Trump is delivering on things that I care about, like crime, like foreign policy, like border security, etc. So how could you not love a president, by the way? Because he's delivering on these things, but he also delivers fire memes, and he knows how to push the buttons of his opponents so well. Watch this.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So that is AI Chuck Schumer delivering that speech there. And next to him was Hakeem Jeffries wearing a sombrero and a mustache. And here is Hakeem Jeffries responding to this meme. He was very upset. Listen.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
I'm sure he would love to, by the way. I don't think President Trump is one to hold back. I think if President Trump was in the same room with Hakeem Jeffries, he would give him a piece of his mind. That is who President Trump is. But also, I saw people on X were saying that Hakeem Jeffries is totally trying to be the Timu version of Obama. You know, like a poor man's Obama. He kind of has that same inflection, the same cadence.
Talking in the pause with the talking.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Yeah, it's like a what is it, like the dollar store version of Obama?
Totally. But I mean, to even respond to this stuff, and he was on MSNBC, I believe, with Rosie O'Donnell last night, and he was asked about this again. It's so funny how the mainstream media, like, they take everything that President Trump does and says very, very seriously, which, yeah, like, I get it. He's the president of the United States, but you also have to cover the news from a 2025 lens where memes exist. And you have to understand the president that you're covering. You kind of have to know who you're covering and also know your audience and kind of understand the landscape, the digital landscape that we all live in. Yes, President Trump made fun of Hakeem Jeffries in this meme. It's so unserious to have Rosie O'Donnell be like, and how do you feel about that? And then to have him respond and say these like serious responses. It's just like, it's a joke. It's a joke. And they can't take a joke. It's just so embarrassing.
How many Orange Man memes have you seen?
Could you imagine if Donald Trump responded to everything, every meme on the internet about him? Like, get real. Then I saw this. Do you guys remember former Republican senator from Arizona, Jeff Flake? I totally forgot about Jeff Flake, by the way, because he hasn't been in office in a few years. But he posted this on X in response to all these memes. And he said, come on, fellow Republicans, we're better than this. Come on. Come on. It's a meme. It's a joke. It's 2025. Get with the times. The left is literally murdering us and we're just making jokes. To be like, let's do better and be better. Shut up. Shut up and grow up. Like, this is the most soft take I've ever heard. Can you tone down your racist memes? No. We're having fun out here. We're getting murdered. Let us have a little fun. Okay? Then President Trump announced a deal with Pfizer today, which is a great breakthrough here with Big Pharma to bring American drug prices down and to bring them in line with the lowest paid by other developed nations. This is the MFN price, the most favored nation price. So President Trump has been outspoken on this issue. He delivered this in his first term. He is doing it again, bringing prescription drug prices down and drug prices in general. And this is what he had to say. In case after case, our citizens pay massively higher prices than other nations to pay for the exact same pill from the same factory, effectively subsidizing socialism aboard with skyrocketing prices at home. So we would spend tremendous amounts of money in order to provide inexpensive drugs to another country. And when I say the price is different, you can see some examples where the price is beyond anything 4 times, 5 times different. So we are paying astronomical prices. The rest of the world is paying half that and even more, right? So back in May, President Trump signed an executive order, and it was the Delivering Most Favored Nation prescription drug pricing to American patients. That's what it was called. Essentially taking action on this to bring down those drug prices, like I was saying. Then on July 31st, President Trump sent letters to all of the leading pharmaceutical companies and manufacturers outlining how we're going to do this, how they have to bring down the prices of prescription drugs. So now today, this is a next step in this whole process. The agreement will provide every state Medicaid program in the country access to these lower prices on Pfizer products. So this sets the scene, sets the standard. Hopefully other big pharma companies will fall in line and do the same. But this is great. And the agreement essentially requires Pfizer to offer medicines at a deep discounted price to American patients. So this is wonderful. But President Trump, just on the topic of President Trump being the ham that he is, he made this joke after RFK Jr. sneezed during this presser. So watch this.
They couldn't test. God bless you, Bobby. I hope I didn't catch COVID just there. Don't you have Paxlovid? What is it? Paxlovid. He's got Paxlovid. Give me a Paxlovid immediately.
So he's gesturing there to the CEO of Pfizer, and Pfizer makes Paxlovid, which people are using to cure and treat COVID, which is very funny. And then this reminded me, because President Trump, people say that he's a germaphobe, right? There's these rumors that he really doesn't like the shaking hands, the sneezing, all that. It's like a little much. So it just reminded me of this moment from 2020 during, when this was the heightened COVID era, and Dr. Birx said that she was feeling a little under the weather, and this is how Trump reacted. This throwback, watch.
You'll notice I was not here over the weekend. I think this is the part that we really need to take personal responsibility for. Saturday, I had a little low-grade fever. Uh-oh. So, actually, probably a GI thing. But, I'm meticulous. I'm a physician. I looked it up. I ended up piggy bank. I'm from Walter Reed, so I got a test late Saturday night, and I'm negative. I stayed home another day.
He's just very funny.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, just to make sure. That's how we protect one another. So, unless everybody's taking their temperature every day, we can't say that he had no symptoms. These are the kinds of things that we have to do for one another. This is the personal responsibility that I'm talking about, that we all have to
He's just very, very funny. And even Bill Barr in the back was laughing at Trump's reaction. He's a ham. So I just wanted to play that.
It's timing with Trump. It's always just really good comedic timing.
Perfect comedic timing. Someone in the chat just said he's a comic in another life. Totally. He's a comic in this life, actually. And you know what? When he's done being the president, maybe he'll do some stand-up. I feel like President Trump totally is going to miss the rallies and those kind of things. I feel like Trump will throw events, especially fundraising events and for other Republican candidates. And I don't think that Trump's going to, he's not going to go away like Biden has and just write a book and sit on the beach. That's not President Trump. So maybe he'll be even funnier when he's not, the president of the United States. And
I still think he'll be a fixture in the Republican Party, right? Do you think he's just... I don't think he'd be able to. He'll work till he dies. I mean, he's just that kind of person. So
that's what I'm saying.
We're gonna have a long time of
100%. That's what I'm like. I think the best is yet to come with Trump and the jokes, especially when he's got the pressure off of his back. He's not the president anymore. I think he's going to. Anyway, I think he's going to thrive in his retirement. All right, Rosie O'Donnell, as we know, moved to Ireland to escape President Trump, but she was on Nicole Wallace's podcast, Best People, I think it's called. We'll take that with a grain of salt. But here's Rosie O'Donnell saying, she's very upset about President Trump, and even her therapist was wondering why. Watch.
When people say, I changed my mind, we have to say, welcome back to reality. Let's all be Americans together, right? Because what's happening is not only happening to Democrats, it's happening to everyone. And when the Medicaid cuts go in, old people are going to start to die. What he's done yet hasn't even hit us yet. Right. And if he's not stopped now, we have lost our country. And I don't know, Nicole, how it is that some people cannot see it. My therapist said, why are you so upset? And I said to her, why are you not?
Yeah. Yeah, I have that conversation too, because the gaslighting that I think you're alluding to, if you're a thoughtful, informed person, you do stop and say, well, maybe it is me.
Newsflash, old people are going to start to die, Andy. That's never happened before, but it's going to start happening now because of Trump and Medicaid cuts. And it's all Trump's fault. Old people are going to start to die.
Why is it that every single person that Rosie talks to, this happened when the clip we cut from Don Lemon, this happens with this lady, they're just looking at Rosie yeah.
No, I know. They just
nod
their heads.
What Rosie O'Donnell from another country is telling them is the most fascinating stuff they've ever heard in their lives. Why? Why does that happen?
You know, Rosie O'Donnell has this therapist, as she says. And the therapist is asking her, why are you so upset? And I think the therapist is asking this from obviously a rational standpoint. Rosie O'Donnell does not have to deal with President Trump. She lives in Ireland, but she is so obsessed with him. He lives rent-free in her head. The therapist is wondering why that is. You literally got on you took a one-way flight to Ireland, and you are still obsessed with the guy in the country you left behind.
What was the response?
That is lunacy.
What was the response like? Why are you so upset? And then Rosie, looked back at her. Why are you not?
Because it's probably
I would have
Irish
started
woman.
talking to Rosie about my problems at that point and billed her by the hour.
Rosie O'Donnell should be paying a lot more. Whatever she's paying for her therapist, it is not enough. I feel for that woman. Greta Thunberg is in the news again. She's part of this flotilla of activists that are, they tried to get into Israel and then Israel turned them away. Their flotilla has been going through it, if you will. And her flotilla had to be evacuated by Turkey, by Turkish officials. So here's the headline. Turkey rescues Greta Thunberg flotilla ship after leak in engine room. So one of the vessels suffered a leak. It broke down and began taking on water. And this was in the Mediterranean. They were in between Cyprus and Egypt when the ship issued a distress call. And Greta Thunberg has pushed back on criticism recently that this Gaza-bound flotilla that she's on is a publicity stunt. She said no one would imperil themselves purely for attention, which people would do that. And I think that she is one of those people because she does not need to be on this trip. They have gotten to Israel. The Israeli government deported them. And now what are they doing? They're floating around the Mediterranean?
That sounds like a vacation.
What are you doing? Then earlier this month, the flotilla was hit by a drone strike when it was docked in Tunisia. So they're just going back and forth from, Gaza or as close to Gaza as they can get. Then they're over in Africa, and then they're just floating all over the Mediterranean. At what point do you go home? What point?
The cameras aren't at home for her. She's where the cameras are.
At what point do you say, we've been bombed?
Leak in the engine room.
We've been bombed. We've taken on water. We've been deported by the Israeli government. When do you throw in the towel?
I guess you're going to go down with the boat.
What is the end game here? They're going to, drop in on parachutes, and I don't know what they're going to do. Deliver aid? How are their ships? I mean, they've got to be on this ship for months, right? And they're docking in certain areas. I guess they're getting, I don't know. It just seems to me like it's a waste of gas, a waste of food, a waste of all this resources. They're just floating around.
Well, how are they getting resourced?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Are we getting like other kinds of drones flying them in with fresh caviar and good wine?
Who
they're in the
knows?
Mediterranean, so grapes and wine.
And clearly, I just want to point out the obvious. Nothing that Greta Thunberg is doing is stopping the war. Absolutely nothing. So, you all know how I feel about protests and things like that. Total waste of time. All right. We've got 15 minutes left, Andy. What do we do here? Do we save the AI stories? We'll go into tinfoil and scrolling. All right. Tinfoil hat time. Coming at you. All right. Now I have to get my tinfoil hat on. Please hold. Okay. So this isn't really a real conspiracy theory, I would say. But this one TikTok user has said that she thinks traffic is not real. It is created by the government to hold us down, to hold us back. They want our money. They want our time. They want to keep us controlled. So is traffic a psyop? Take a listen.
They suppressed my last video because they don't want you to know that they are starting traffic, that they just want traffic to be there so that they can get your money for the easy pass. They want you to be anxious so that you can go buy medicine. They are starting the traffic. It isn't real. Why do you think there's traffic at the same time every day? Why do you think that is? Because they are starting traffic. They are starting traffic, y'all!
Okay. Of course, she's exaggerating a little bit, right? But let's talk about traffic being a potential psyop. She mentions that traffic happens at the same time every day, which makes sense because during commuting hours, there are more people on the road. There's more opportunities for someone to, boob up and slow down and get into an accident or whatever. The more people that are on the road, the more, traffic there is going to be. But do we think that the government is potentially creating traffic? We know that they are capable of creating traffic because we'll show you this video that shows the start of traffic. There's no reason for it.
I think I have the solution here.
The video says, y'all, I finally witnessed the beginning of traffic and there's just no one there's one person going slow in front. There's no accident. There's no issue. There's no reason for all of these people to slow down. So what is it? Also, we know that cops can do what do they call it? Like a traffic brake where the cop will kind of swerve because there's an accident up ahead or something and they want to slow everyone down.
I'll tell you what happened in real time. So that idiot was making that video in her car while she was driving, and about 40 cars back, somebody was filming her in real time while she was making the video. She is the cause of the traffic jam. But she's not
the cause because it was already happening for her to react to it.
What she said that was interesting is them forcing you to take roads. Like maybe there's, these public non-toll roads are constantly worked on, so you have to jump on here. In Florida, we have the turnpike. So, you can get, it's like the golden stairway to Disney. And so you get on the turnpike, it costs you money. And in Orlando, it's nothing but the turnpike. So you just sort of you wonder if the roads are pushing you to fund some of that stuff.
Right.
But
well, that was one of the things that she was mentioning. Do we think that there's an incentive for us to drive to make money on gas, on Easy Pass, on certain things? The more you're sitting in your car, the more you have to pay those things.
There's also the daisy chain reaction, pump the brake effect. Have you ever been driving and you just pump the brake, and you're like,
the person in front of you, you see their brake lights.
You brake.
You don't know how slow they're going or how, you know what I'm saying? I have always thought this. I don't know why cars don't already have this, but if someone is just tapping on their brake, the brake light should be yellow. It should go on a gradient, yellow to orange to red. If someone is braking hard, the light should be red. If they are just tapping, wouldn't that be helpful to know that they're not fully stopping so then you don't have to fully stop?
Well, some people
Why does that not exist? Should I invent it and become a millionaire?
That sounds like a good idea. That also might stop collisions. I don't know. I think certain people can't drive and shouldn't drive, and they cause problems on the freeway for everyone.
Totally. What pisses me off, you're sitting in traffic for, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You're like, what is going on up there? You can't see what's going on. You're thinking maybe it's an accident, maybe whatever. You get up to where the accident or whatever is. It's just people staring for no reason. Move it along. We don't need to look. But then I was thinking, could cops or the government put a makeshift something. Maybe it's not even a real accident. Maybe it's not even a real traffic stop or anything. But do they want people to rubberneck to slow down? And I don't know. Maybe there's more of a conspiracy.
That could happen. The other thing that drives me crazy is when they decide to take like a double wide trailer down the middle of the interstate with like 3 caution cars at 7 a.m. That also jacks up everybody's traffic flow. And so that's a choice. Like they chose to do that. Why couldn't you do that at like 10:30 when everybody's already at work?
Yeah. I don't know. People in the chat say no, that it's not a government psyop.
But I do think it's funny that she was making that while she was driving.
Agreed.
I mean, that's
it's just entertaining. That's why I wanted to preface this by saying this isn't really a real tinfoil hat time. It's not a real conspiracy theory, but it could be. You know, the government is capable of a lot. They lie to us. They take our money. Traffic might just be one of these other money-making operations for the government. You never know. All right, let's get into scrolling time. This is a funny video. This woman says that if you're going to a party with a bunch of liberals, here's some icebreakers that you can use. Listen.
Nice to meet you, sir. How far along are you? Do you feel like harming yourself or others? How much do you hate yourself for being born white? What are your daddy issues? Hey, cool mask. What's your favorite mental illness? Hey, how much did you make at that last protest? Cool tail. Yeah, man. Fuck the oligarchy. Hey, are you going to that protest tomorrow? Soros is providing all the signs. They're saying God in the Pledge of Allegiance at the schools. Can you believe that? Oh, did you hear about the new book they're putting in the library? It's about transitioning your preschooler. I'm going to get it for my son. Daughter.
Son, daughter. I thought that was funny. I wouldn't want to go to a liberal party. I feel like they're not very fun. Because, again, these conversation starters, not fun. But if you did have to make small talk with these people, great ideas. Also, another time suck one would be, how many mental illnesses do you have? And then you could just let them go on and on and on.
I am so about finding middle ground with people.
Not bringing up politics.
Talk about movies. Don't even bring this stuff up. Talk about something else. Talk about what pets you have, what dogs you like. Talk about where you went to high school. Talk about where you're from. Like, don't even go there, because one side will just walk away.
Yep. Anything but politics. But I would avoid this party like the plague.
I wouldn't be invited.
I wouldn't be invited. You know what, Andy? We're not getting the invite, and that's okay. That's okay. All right. This next video, comedian talking about RFK Jr. in the hospital. I thought that this was hilarious. Watch.
RFK, what are you doing in the hospital?
We interrupt your vital signs to bring you an important message. You have autism. Don't worry, you probably just picked it up from a public toilet seat or an ex. Luckily, there's a cure. My new RF kombucha, now available in the way back of CVS's and in all IV fluids.
So how committed to the role was this comedian? Did he actually wait until he went in for a procedure here?
I don't know. Play it again. Is this a real... Maybe it's just a doctor's office. I don't know.
RFK, what are you doing?
He looks like he's in
hospital?
there.
Looks legit.
We interrupt your vital signs to bring you an important message.
It could have just been...
You have autism. Don't worry, you probably just picked it up from a public toilet seat or an ex. Luckily, there's a cure.
Like a
My
doctor's
new
office.
RF kombucha, now available in the way back of CVS's and in all IV fluids.
Maybe he had like an appendix or something. You know what I mean? He had to go in. Kombucha.
I love how he said the RF kombucha is available in the back of a CVS and in every IV bag.
Sort of sounded a little bit like Stephen Hawking there.
I also think it's funny that he said you could just pick up autism on the... someone said it's cropped onto the screen. Guys, no kidding. This was not real. Do I have to preface everything that's AI and everything that's a joke?
Well, I think I confused. I'm the one
RFK
saying
did
that.
not say, let me just, here's a disclaimer. RFK Jr. did not pop onto this person's, interrupt their vital signs and say that you can contract autism from a toilet seat. Okay, now that we are all on the same page that this was a joke.
And this may or may not have been filmed in an actual ER.
I think it was maybe just a doctor's office, but I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, last video that I have for you here, my friend sent me this, and this just goes to show how stupid people are. Just stupid beyond repair. This is a family that they came in contact with a family of gorillas. Watch this. And the woman gets pushed by the silverback. She's lucky that's all that happened to her.
She was about 5 seconds from getting Donkey Konged. Look at that thing.
Huge. Why are these human beings even in the vicinity? Like, what are you guys doing?
Was it last week we showed the video of that lady screaming at the bear to sit down?
I know.
Like,
What these people are
away
insane.
From apex predators, please.
You need to find a hobby indoors, away from animals that want to kill you.
This is why I think Jurassic Park could be real, because idiots run up to the Tyrannosaurus Rex and wave at it in the movie Jurassic Park, and they're always the first to get eaten.
This is going to be tough.
If there would be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, somebody like that idiot right there would walk up and try to feed it a carrot, and that's it.
I have not seen Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. That's the new one, right?
I'm going to let the chat take out its frustrations.
I have not seen that movie. I have not seen Jaws. Yeah. I got to watch that in my free time. What's better, Jaws or Jurassic Park?
Two different movies. Jaws was filmed in the late 70s, and it's just crazy because you don't really see the shark sort of until, the end. Then it started all that just as a suspense thing. The movie's tense the whole time. But Jurassic Park is the first time that they really did like CGI and depended on it in a movie, and it was in the early 90s. It's great. You should watch it.
Someone called me like a godless communist for not watching Jaws or
That's
Jurassic
brilliant.
Park.
Whoever said that, got a shout out. I didn't get the name.
Anyway, I go to church every Sunday. That's where I get my God fix. I don't get my God fix from old movies. Sorry. I have seen Caddyshack, guys. People in the chat are saying Caddyshack. I have seen that. And I've seen, what's the other one? Happy Gilmore. Both of them. The new one and the old one.
It's also both those coincidentally.
Of course, because my husband is in the new one. I had to see it. I had to support him.
But both those coincidentally, Jaws and Jurassic Park were Steven Spielberg's movies. So like you should check it out.
Okay.
Throw in an E.T. there.
I've seen E.T. That's a good one. Alrighty.
And chat's having no mercy.
I know. I'm trying to read all these. Oh, shoot. It just scrolled away. It's too fast. But someone said, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I don't get offended.
Somebody said, watch the Blues Brothers. That's a great one, too.
Maybe that was the person that said godless communist was saying that, but it just went by too fast. Sorry. But I don't get offended, so don't worry. Alrighty. Thank you all for joining me tonight. You can follow me on social media at Hayley Caronia, HayleyCaronia. It's down there if you're watching. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Truth Social. I'm on X, of course. And thank you for watching the show. I love everyone. I love getting to chat with you in the chat. Literally, chat in the chat. But I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.